welcome back to my channel. This is Prepping by Faith, and today I wanted to discuss with you preparing for 2023. With it being New Year's, a lot of people are into goal setting and making resolutions and all that sort of thing, and I think that definitely has a place. So I wanted to have a conversation today kind of at a micro and a macro level of what we witnessed in 2022 and what we're going to most likely see come 2023. So kind of rewinding back to 2022, I know that what the majority of us remember from 2022 was this absolute increase in inflation. Obviously, the numbers that they're owning up to and what we all have seen are completely different. I know that the majority of us have seen at a minimum an increase of 50% in our grocery prices. We have also witnessed anywhere between 50 and 100% in our energy costs. So all of those costs associated with keeping our homes heated. We did, for a brief period of time, have our gas begin to creep up. So the price of oil was up to try to fill our tanks for our vehicles and all of that sort of thing as well. The only reason that has been temporarily leveled off is because we have been constantly pulling from our oil reserves, which we know is not a good thing, especially if we are to go into some sort of a global confrontation of sorts, right? So we have witnessed that. We have also seen a lot of language that has come out of this administration that is pointing towards the use of the domestic T word in connotation with those that they deem patriots. So we know that, that level of persecution is set. It's sort of set precedence for all of us, a lot of us in the community, the prepping community. So that is another item that we need to be aware of. We have seen the shortfalls as far as food production, the attack on our global food supply. We know that the levels of nitrogen are a lot less in order to make that fertilizer. So next year, we are probably going to see more of the same. So being prepared for that. What did my family do this last year in order to get ready for 2022? What kind of steps did we take? As far as stocking up on all of the things, the food items that we need, the water, the filtration, all that sort of thing. That was something that we had already heavily been doing since the beginning of 2020. So that is something that we were just sort of filling in, rotating out of, being mindful. For our family, our goal has been 2 years worth of supplies. This isn't something that I have really publicly shared before, but at a minimum, we were looking at 2 years. Now, that may be a very high number for a lot of people in the community. You start off wherever you feel comfortable, whatever you feel like preparing for. There is no one size fits all when it comes to preparedness. We are all just on here sharing our own journeys, our own experiences, our own thoughts and opinions. And so they are ours, and they are going to be obviously affected by whatever we have witnessed and experienced in our own lives. So we're just sharing that knowledge with you guys. I do not in any way consider myself an expert in preparedness. I look at myself as more of a low to mid-level prepper. I never will tell you guys that I have all the answers, that I have it all figured out. Everything that I share with you is just, basics that I have learned, things that, a lot of mistakes I've made and shared with you guys along the way, so that hopefully you guys don't do the same thing. So anyway, so what did my family do in 2022? Well, one of the things that I felt was particularly important was learning to grow food. Now, I had never really been one to get into gardening, but I definitely see the need for it with the attack on our food supply. So one of the things I had done was begin to start growing things in containers. I live in the suburbs of a densely populated area in Colorado, so that is where I started. We are looking to hopefully do, further advanced growing this next year. We were looking into raised beds. Hopefully we can get those installed this next year, see if that's in the budget to do. But one of the things about Colorado is that we do get charged for our water, and that can get very, very expensive. So also factoring that into account when it comes to how much you're growing, because it is going to cost us more than it would, and other areas where you don't have to pay for your water. So working on growing food, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work. That is one of the things that I worked on in 2022. Another thing that I did is I went and I got some more advanced medical training through American Red Cross. They had a class that I went and took that I felt was very important. So I went and did that and got some more hands-on, for CPR, first aid, critical thing, first response. I think that is really important. So I worked on that and got a certification for that training. The other thing that I worked on was going and getting more practice in at the range. That was something that was high on my list. It is something that definitely is also going to have a cost associated with it, but I do feel that there is a great benefit to that. So that was another item that we focused on for 2022. Another thing that we did is we had the boards put up for a just-in-case scenario for our windows and, locking down situation where we are trying to go into that home defense mode. So we made sure that we got those boards cut to fit everything. That was another thing that was on my list that needed to be checked off. So we did that. Okay, so those are the sorts of things that we did for 2022 to sort of get our family more prepared. So looking at 2023, what do I see coming for 2023? Well, as we know, they are always pushing for, this sort of next global health crisis. We see a lot of language like that in the news. We all have heard about this acceleration in large Asian nation, what is going on over there. Do I think that that could impact us at some point in time? Anything is possible at this point. I'm not going to rule that out completely. Right now, that is not at the forefront of my mind. I am more focused on the catastrophic contagion. If you guys have not seen that video, that was one that I have put out. I've talked about that a couple of times now on my channel, in which they are focusing on more of it's an enterovirus, respiratory enterovirus disease that they have said would impact more of our younger population and our children. And so that is where I'm focused. So I think that there's always the possibility of something else coming out that way. Obviously, we can see the acceleration. This hasn't stopped, with the nations sort of going at each other in regards to the whole Russian and Ukrainian situation. That has not slowed down. So of course that is a concern as well. That is something that we need to be prepared for. How will that affect us, especially in the ways of supplies that we are used to being able to just go and acquire, right? So being ready for that. Inflation, I do not see that slowing down. I believe that is going to continue to accelerate. We are going to witness our grocery prices continuing to rise. So being prepared for what that looks like, understanding that our gasoline prices are going to start rising once again as soon as they have decided to stop pulling from those reserves and have artificially sort of leveled off those price increases. So understanding what that's going to do to our budget, understanding that our energy costs are not going to slow down. We were told here in my state a 54% increase in natural gas. What we got was over 100% increase. And I know I'm not the only one affected by that. This has happened across the United States of America. It has also impacted Europe greatly, and I believe it will continue to. So how do we sort of get prepared for 2023? What is coming as far as inflation, these rising costs? So one of the first things that I believe that people need to be doing is really looking at your finances, getting real with what you have available and what you have going out. So, understanding that you have to work out a budget, that you have to figure out what you can live without and what you have to survive, right? So it's always going to be a good idea to budget in some level of preparedness as you go forward. If that looks like a few extra canned goods, for the week, every week that you go out grocery shopping, or if it's only so much that you budget per month and you're saving towards a larger purchase that you need, whether that be, another 2A tool or the items that you need that go with that, or whatever it is that you are low on, that you feel like you need to up your game in preparedness, that is what I would suggest you do. Definitely work on paying down any debt, especially if you guys have any sort of credit card debt. Understanding that there are no true fixed rates anymore when it comes to credit cards. I have noticed this over the years. We have really outstanding credit, but whatever that minimum is that they offer, that number is continuing to increase. It's continuing to rise. So I would suggest, if you're going to have a credit card, make sure that you pay that off monthly so that you are not paying any kind of interest to anyone. The reason that we stick with using our credit card for a lot of purchases is because I do not feel comfortable using a debit card. That way, if somebody that were to get compromised, it is a lot harder to get those funds back than it is to dispute fraud with a credit card. So that there is a purpose for having a credit card, for having good credit. As far as saving, so one of the things that we are sort of trying to do, our family is looking to do, I want to start saving towards a piece of land. I think that land, anything of physical asset, is going to be very valuable, but with that it requires capital, right? It's going to require money, so there is still a place for that. So how are we going to reach that goal? What are we going to do? So we are going to have to work through our budget as a family and figure out what else extras that we are spending money on that we can sort of cut back on to sort of start saving towards that, making that goal a reality. So one of the things that I had noticed, right, is that I do a lot of clearance shopping. I buy everything on sale. During the Black Friday deals, I will, pick up additional items for my children, whether that is clothing or, things for the following Christmas or their birthdays or what have you. And I think, I'm getting this awesome deal. I'm getting this thing on clearance for, half the price or 3/4 of the price or whatever it is. And then I stash these items away. I have not been doing as good of a job as I could with going through there and every couple months and looking at what I already have so that I am not purchasing too much of those items, because it's not going to save me in the long run if I'm buying too many of such a good deal, right? So that's something that I need to get better at. And I've already communicated with my children that we are going to be cutting back on their birthdays and Christmas by half. That's something that our family is going to do, is going to be making a sacrifice to sort of start working towards our goals. One of the other things that I would really encourage you guys to do to get prepared for 2023 is start learning all of the basic skills that you can as far as your everyday living situation goes. Anything that you can do to stretch your budget, that you can do yourself, is going to help further your dollar. So whether that is making a home repair to, maybe an appliance that has gone out that you need and you figure that you can get that part and install it yourself, whether that is car maintenance. One of the things that we've done during this holiday break is that my husband had gone ahead and ordered the spark plugs and everything and changed those out in my vehicle, changed out the air filter that he could reach, all these sorts of things. Anything like that you can do that's going to save you money, because we know that these things are not getting any cheaper. Labor is very expensive. So your labor is going to be worth a lot of money to you to be able to hold on to that and use that for other things. We have an issue in our bathroom that we are going to have to try to figure out how to repair ourselves, where they did not mud and tape a wall correctly in there, and the paint and the tape is coming off. So we're going to have to research how to fix that ourselves, so that we are not having to hire a handyman to come out and make those repairs. One of the other things that we had done forever is I had purchased, Great Clips gift cards on the day after Veterans Day when they put those on sale to use for my husband for the next year for his haircuts. But the prices have gone up so significantly that I can no longer justify that. I had been cutting his hair during the lockdowns that we had of 2020. And so now, after these last couple rounds have run out, I will be going back to doing that again. So looking at how can you, can you cut hair at home. I already do my girls. That's something I have done for a long time. And then, another thing is taking care of your own pet's grooming. I've mentioned this several times on my channel. That is another way to stretch your budget. Can you do take care of their toenails, give them their baths, clip their hair, learn how to do all of these things on your own so that you are not going out and paying additional money for those things. So anything that you can do at home to stretch those resources is going to be money in your pocket, is going to help you to attain those prepping goals. One of the other things I would suggest you guys do as well is do not compare yourself to anyone else, and do not let anyone make you feel like you are not doing enough to prepare, that somehow you are not a prepper because you are not doing it like they are doing it. Do not do that to yourself. That is a black hole. That is a dark road to go down. You want to continue to be yourself, be bold, be fearless. If you have a different opinion or a different view, and you are not being disrespectful in any way, but you just see things slightly different, it's okay to be different. It's okay to stand out. It's okay to not always go along. I don't care what group you're in, what group you're a part of. You do not want to begin to be take on so much of that group thought that you no longer think for yourself. So anything that I put out, anything that I share with you guys, feel free to go online, do your own research, question everything. Anything anybody's putting out, any one of us can misstep, can misspeak, can put out incorrect information at any given time, or maybe whatever we're sharing with you just doesn't work for you, and that's okay. So be your own person. I want to encourage you guys to continue doing that, especially with everything that we witness on a daily basis. There's so much information, there's so much news. Any of our experiences, any of our opinions can sort of filter that lens of what we're seeing, and we may not be seeing it entirely clear. So I did want to share that with you guys as well. And just continue to strive for those goals, but do yourself a favor in whatever goal that you're setting for yourself for 2023. Keep it on more of a micro level, a smaller level. One of the things that people usually do for at the beginning of the year is they set a goal to reach a certain weight. They want to lose so many pounds. Don't do that to yourself. Start off with baby steps. Maybe your goal is, just incorporating some light exercise, some walking every day. Maybe your goal is, eating less. And as you do those things, you're going to see those pounds start dropping off. That's one of the things that I need to focus on is eating less of my preps, right, that I have put up and getting more active. So keeping things on an attainable level. Don't put so many goals out there that and make them so large that you're not going to hit them, that you're not going to make it. Baby step it. That's important. Visualize your goals. Write them down. Put them on paper and make a habit of looking at those, every week and just seeing how far you've come. Have you attained any of those? If you make yourself accountable, you hold yourself accountable and you visualize that, then you're going to have a better chance of being successful, of hitting those. So these are just some things that I wanted to bring to you guys, what I think that we need to be focusing on for 2023, getting ready for what that looks like. And if you guys have enjoyed this video today, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And remember to pray, prep, and put God first. God bless.